This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL, but they should be. We do encourage you, however, to like and share them on Facebook. It's time for Joanne's World of Nutrition, brought to you by Nutrition World in downtown Fort Pierce, across from City Hall. And right now, here's your host, Joanne Seeger.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone is having an amazing morning. Thank you for all my newbies listening to the show. Today we have an amazing guest, so I want everyone to stay tuned in just a minute after our breathing exercise when I invite this new guest on. Well, actually, second time here. But next week, I want you guys to mark your calendar. I just got news that I am going to have Dr. Mercola's lead researcher and formulator on the show with me. He's going to be live in the studio. So next week, and if anyone doesn't follow Dr. Mercola online, I would definitely suggest checking him out. He's has a huge social media following and all over with pretty much every topic to do with health. So definitely don't want to miss next week. So we are going to do the breathing exercise real quick, and because I don't want to miss much of my guests, we're only going to do one round, but I want to emphasize to all my listeners that this is never to be skipped. All right, so Cliff, just one round. We're going to breathe in for 2, hold for 4, exhale for 8, only using our nose. And as we continue the show, please, listeners, continue on with the breathing exercise.
That's right.
All right, so let's exhale out all the drama, the negativity, the fear. Please shut the news off from the background. Let's just have a nice hour of positivity and good thoughts, okay?
The first intake is going to only last 2 seconds, so make it hard and
make it a big one. Okay, here we
go.
Ready? Ready?
Let it all out first. Okay, now begin. Inhale. 1, 2, hold. 2, 3, 4, release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can continue if you like, but in the meantime, you're invited to stay tuned.
Thank you, Cliff. Definitely the expert counter. All right. So our guest today for the second time, and I am so thankful to have him on the show, is Dr. Peter. Good morning, Dr. Peter.
Good morning, Joanne. Thank you for having me again.
Yes, and all my listeners, I let them know a few weeks ago because I wasn't sure which week you were going to be on. I'm like, you're going to have to listen every week just to make sure you don't miss Dr. Peter. Oh, thank you so much, and I want to thank you again for coming to my open house. You were such a blessing to be there.
It was a pleasure. Yeah, you have an amazing store and amazing staff, and I encourage everybody to go there. Yeah, I really, really had a great time, and so did my family. My wife.
Yes, I got to meet your beautiful wife and your son, and it was so cool. They toured downtown, and yeah, such a healthy-looking family. All of you, so wonderful. Well, so we had a great first show with you, and you really covered so much ground, but we didn't cover everything. So we had to have you on again for some more exciting info. But in case someone didn't catch the first show, could you just spend a few minutes telling everyone about your background and all about Dr. Peter?
Yes, I'm a medical oncologist, board certified in hematology and medical oncology. I've been in community practice for around 10 years, but I've been treating patients for over 20. The last couple of years, I've been dealing more in nutrition, especially special nutrition for a specific patient populations, like patients with cancer, also patients with nerve damage, neuropathy, and more recently, patients who are about to get surgery, especially if they're malnourished. I have designed scientifically proven, clinically tested ingredients and put them together in all-in-one nutritional supplements for these special patient populations.
Okay, and that's what brought you to me. So,
exactly.
So Dr. Peter has introduced to the field of nutrition products that can be used safely and very effectively with people that are choosing to use chemo radiation, or just in general that have neuropathy or they're going in for surgery. So we're going to talk about some of his newest products today. But I want to stress, this is a really big deal for anyone that's gotten that really scary news, the big C word. Sometimes when they go to their oncologist, they are pretty much telling them a blanketed statement of, well, just don't use your supplements. Let's get you through chemo radiation, and then we'll discuss, refortifying you after. And that's what I've been used to dealing with for over 30 years. But Dr. Peter has really stepped outside the box, researched, and has worked with a great team to formulate products that are safe and effective and can help with that. So if you like to get into that subject more deeper, go to YouTube, go to my past show with Dr. Peter that Cliff always posts online for me, and that way you can get that whole hour of that topic of using one of his cutting-edge #1 products for use with chemo and radiation. But today we're talking about another big, huge issue that we have in our country, well, in the world, and that's neuropathy. Now, so Nutronco is the name of your company, and
Yes.
Power Nerve is the name of the product that you're using for this neuropathy issue. But some of our listeners might not know what neuropathy is. Can you tell them what that is all about?
Yes, we're talking about a little more specific peripheral neuropathy. And peripheral neuropathy is basically numbness, tingling in the hands and the feet that's caused by damage to the nerve endings. There are other symptoms that could be weakness, burning, tickling, prick feelings in the hands and feet. And this damage can be caused by different things, most commonly diabetes. There are 40 million people that suffer from diabetes in the country, and over 60% of them will develop neuropathy. And neuropathy also can be caused by chemotherapy, chronic drug use like alcohol. But regardless of the cause, the symptoms are the same. And many times they are debilitating and really interfering with activities of daily living. There are no really good medications to reverse neuropathy. There are multiple prescription medications out there to suppress the pain, to suppress the symptoms, but these medications have serious side effects. We know about gabapentin, Lyrica, and all kinds of side effects they can cause, but they are all symptomatic treatments, and there's nothing really out there that helps the nerves regenerate. And that's where we were trying to aim in our product.
Dr. Peter, do you find that most people are self-diagnosing when it comes to peripheral neuropathy? Like, I know even with myself, sometimes like if I'm riding a bike and all of a sudden like I can't feel my hands anymore, I'm like so nervous, I'm like, oh no, is this neuropathy, or am I just kinking my wrists on the handlebars, and I start having to shake my hands because I can't feel them? Like, are people self-diagnosing, or do you actually get pins and needles and run right to the doctor?
Well, there are a lot of people that self-diagnose. There are types of what I wouldn't call neuropathy, but just temporary nerve problem that go away. When you compress on the radial nerve, it's funny, people who drink a lot and sometimes sleep on the table, they wake up with their numb hands. And this is actually
Are you watching me at night, Dr. Peter? What's happening?
No, but this is actually an official diagnosis, and that's the radial nerves, and that gets better in a few days. Bell's palsy is a type of neuropathy you get from a virus, or carpal tunnel when you type a lot, or
like a hairdresser,
masons, you use your hammer a lot. Those are types of neuropathy and nerve damage. Many people do self-diagnose, but really to make the diagnosis, you need to see a doctor. There's also official tests that, nerve conduction studies and all that they can do. But most of the time you can just make the diagnosis clinically, especially if there is something like the chemotherapy that's well known to cause it, or there's underlying diabetes for a long time, especially with peripheral vascular disease.
Okay.
So they
like
can
I hear about most commonly is diabetic neuropathy for the bottom of the feet. A lot of people
Yes.
stepping off the bed and having sharp pains or no feeling at all.
Yes, neuropathy typically develops first in the fingers and toes because those are the longest nerves, right? The nerves come from the spinal cord and from the brain, but the peripheral nerves typically from the spinal cord, and the longest nerves go all the way to our toes. So that's why we feel those first, and then the neuropathy can worsen. Neuropathy can also cause problems with digestion, especially in diabetics, chronic problems, either constipation or diarrhea, and ultimately malnutrition, also problems with balance, called autonomic neuropathy. These are all symptoms of peripheral neuropathy.
Okay, I definitely hope all our listeners are paying attention whether or not they feel like they have it, because I know as we get older, I definitely hear of it more and more commonly, especially with diabetes.
Yes, yes.
All
It's
right.
actually very, very common.
I'm just curious, at what point, like, because, you definitely have selected a core number of supplements that really address specific issues. At what point did you, like, wake up and say, there's this huge problem, neuropathy, I need to develop a formula for this? Did it, like, how did it hit home with you?
It really started with chemotherapy-induced neuropathy. I've treated hundreds of patients, typically for colon and breast cancer, that almost invariably they will develop a neuropathy. Let's talk about colon cancer. Patients who get adjuvant treatment, which means that they had their surgery, there's no evidence of disease, but they need to get chemotherapy to prevent the cancer from coming back. They do need typically 6 months of treatment. And one of the drugs, oxaliplatin, will inevitably cause neuropathy. So these patients, and I had to give them supplements to prevent and treat their neuropathy. This type of neuropathy can get worse and can last forever and could be really debilitating. Picking up little objects, doing daily activities, those are the better side effects. Some people have severe pain that it's very difficult to live with, and the quality of life is very low. So I was giving these patients supplements that do help. And these supplements, the B-type vitamins, some of other supplements, vitamin D, L-glutamine, they would have to take 8, 10 different pills twice a day. And that is very cumbersome. The compliance is very low, and it's very expensive. So that's when I decided to make one product that will have everything in one, making compliance much better and way cheaper for the patient. So that's how it came from. And as I was developing and did all the studies and readings and research, I realized that it's working really well for diabetic neuropathy. Diabetic neuropathy, they did a lot of studies. There's ample data with the ingredients. And we realized that it's great for those patients. In fact, our first studies show that over 85-90% of patients have a significant improvement within a few weeks, which can vary depending on how severe and how long the neuropathy has been there. And it also works for alcohol-induced neuropathy. So that's how it came about from my experience with the chemotherapy patients.
And to me, that's the best way because it's like a labor of need and love, because you don't want them to finally be cancer-free, but then suffer with the pain and neuropathy. It's not.
Correct.
Yeah, they should have more health to look forward to after such an ordeal.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, this can be debilitating and can last forever. Can even worsen over time.
Yeah, and well, the power nerve is your solution, like you said, because I know, like, as they're going through treatment, or even if they're not in treatment, some people, it's hard to comply with numerous bottles, and then they're second guessing themselves. Well, how much of this, and what about if I skip that one? So you put all the essentials together. You briefly just mentioned a few ingredients. Do you want to mention more specifically why you chose the ones you chose in the Power Nerve?
Yes, I mean, B-type vitamins are well known and well studied to support nerves and nerve regeneration. But we not just use the B-type vitamins, but we use the ones that are better, in a sense, like in instead of B1 thiamine, we use benfotiamine, which absorbs better, works better, and safe. Instead of the regular B12, which is cyanocobalamin, we use the methylated form, methylcobalamin, which again is better absorbed, works better, faster, and safer. Methylfolate is safe to use in patients with what's called the MTHFR mutation. That is 40% of the population. If we give regular folic acid to these patients for their nerves, they cannot metabolize it, and it will increase an abnormal amino acid called homocysteine that can cause problems with strokes, for example. So these are better metabolites. We also have a proper dose. The B12 will really help the nerves, but it has to be at least 2 milligrams a day that you use. And we, based on all the studies and everything, we use the proper dosing for that. Besides the B-type vitamins, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at this.
Well, I know you have the alpha lipoic acid, which is
Yes.
one of my favorites.
Yes,
I love
and
alpha lipoic.
Alpha lipoic acid is amazing. It's an antioxidant, but also it's very, very useful for the nerves. It really helps nerves regenerate. It was studied in chemotherapy-induced neuropathy being effective, diabetic neuropathy, not just treats, but prevents neuropathy. And we use the stabilized form, which is the one that one has to use.
Definitely. Yeah, because I know alpha lipoic, like if you use the unstable form, it stays in the body very little time. And Dr. Peter, you know my favorite part of that nutrient is for the longest time I was taught like either you have the fat-soluble antioxidants or the water-soluble antioxidants. So one is working like in the middle of the cell, kind of cleaning that all up, and some is working on the defense of the cell on the outside. And I know I use very layman's terms when I describe things, but for my customers, their head can comprehend that kind of stuff. But alpha lipoic did both. It helped the inner workings of the cell and the defensiveness of the cell. And to me, that's like awesome, and especially stabilizing blood sugar. So really great things with that.
It's absolutely right. Alpha lipoic acid has a hydrophilic and a hydrophobic.
See, you use the big fancy words,
Yes. So
they do sound cool.
It's water soluble and lipid soluble at the same time. So you're absolutely right. Now we also have nucleotides. We talked about nucleotides in the first show, how they are one of those newly discovered supplements, at least in the United States. They've been using it in Europe for a long time. And nucleotides are amazing to boost immunity, wound healing, and gut health. And gut health is extremely important, which we also talked about last time. So we support the absorption of these by improving gut health, as well as we boost immunity with the same medication.
Yeah, I love that about you and your products is that you address gut health with every product, because if that's not working, like you said, it's not about what you swallow, it's about what you absorb. So if you're not taking in these and having the superior forms of each nutrient, then it's just flushing money down the toilet. So what's the use? Awesome. So now for with these supplements that Dr. Peter is talking about, you don't have to wait until you are suffering or you get some bad news from a routine appointment. You can start taking care of your body now. All these supplements are great for you whether or not you have neuropathy. So the Power Nerve is, like you mentioned, drinking alcohol. Like just sometimes life can really create these issues. Just having surges of blood sugar because you're indulging a few times a week on way too much sugar. They can cause havoc in the body. So Power Nerve can give you some line of defense for that. So.
It's absolutely right. Power Nerve boosts immunity in an amazing way. And I don't want to mention the coronavirus nowadays, but there are some patients, especially cancer patients, who have lower immunity and impaired immunity. They really would need some immune boosting, especially if it should get worse. Also, it's funny you mentioned the alcohol. Drinking alcohol depletes the B vitamins, and the liver problems and all that. This has liver protective compounds as well as the B-type vitamins that replenish The R-alpha lipoic acid also protects the liver and the oxidative stress that alcohol abuse causes. So it's actually a great hangover drug, which I didn't want to talk about, but we are actually based on this, because we had some people that used it for that, and with great results. We are actually designing a new formulation specifically for that indication.
I love it, because to me that's reality. And so many of my friends and customers, even though they really try to live a healthy lifestyle, we still consume alcohol. And so it's just a reality of our society. But I haven't brought up the virus at all because, I feel like, it's spreading fear. But the one thing that I have to say, I just saw on Facebook, a doctor posted that there was no way to boost immunity and was mocking all the people that was saying that your immune system could actually be boosted. So I love that you're on my show today, someone that is a medical oncologist, a hematologist, PhD, MD, saying this, because sometimes if a person sees a doctor say, no way, to help your immune system, it's going to make people feel hopeless. So now they're going to be scared, full of fear, and hopeless. I don't know why media is driving this message. It really upsets me.
It is. It upsets me. And that's just absolutely wrong, what that doctor said. There is thousands of studies, and he probably hasn't read the studies or maybe anything, but there's ample data that there are multiple and many ingredients that can boost the immune system in amazing ways, including the B vitamins, the zinc, vitamin D, probiotics.
Yeah. Thousands of studies on those. Yeah.
Thousands of studies. And nucleotides. Without nucleotides, the immune systems don't work well. The lymphocytes, the most important cells, especially against viruses, they do not make their own nucleotides. They don't have the factory for that. They don't have the enzymes. So they need nucleotides. And nucleotides boost immunity in an amazing way. There are thousands of studies. So to say that is more than wrong.
Yeah, it's horrible. And I'll definitely be posting this video all over. All right, well, Dr. Peter, we're just a couple minutes away from a break. So before we go into the other new product that you developed, so the Power Nerve, just in general, I know it's hard to be specific with this question, but someone's getting super excited listening to the show. They do not have neuropathy, but they might not be having the best lifestyle. Would they just maintain with maybe one capsule a day, or would they take a full dose? What is your suggestion?
No. Yeah, I would not take a full dose if there's no neuropathy. A full dose would be 2 capsules twice a day. For someone who just wants to maintain a happy and healthy lifestyle, 1 a day, at most 2, especially if there's some binging involved, would do the job. But 1 a day for those patients would be fine. The serving size is actually 2 capsules. So.
Okay, so if I get a patient that unfortunately is in the throes of diabetes or going through treatments, then they would take 1 in the morning, 1 at night, like spread it out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But the full dose, if you do have existing neuropathy, would be 2 capsules twice a day.
Okay, so 4 a day.
I'd like to emphasize one more thing. If you do have existing neuropathy, there's a lot of damage to the nerves and the nerve sheath and the microtubules, and depending on the cause, it takes time. So some people we've seen, it may take 6 to 8 weeks to heal. But nerves recover slowly, but they will eventually recover. So be patient. Taking 1 or 2 days and then not seeing much of a difference, that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
The nerves regenerate slowly.
Thank you for stressing that. Unfortunately, some people, they love the things, but they do expect them to be miracles within 3 doses. So yes, I always tell people 90 days commitment before judging.
I totally agree with you.
Awesome.
Totally.
All right. Well, we're just going to do a really quick break, and we'll be right back with Dr. Peter to talk about more exciting products from Nutronco.
Hey, it's Dr. Ravi at Tradition Family Chiropractic. We are dedicated to serving you and your family with integrity, compassion, and innovative care through the most advanced chiropractic care ever in chiropractic history. encouraging your health and your family's health to its maximum potential on a regular basis. Call us today at 772-345-0060 or schedule online at traditionhealth.com for your free consultation.
Guiding the Treasure Coast in health, one person at a time. Okay? That's their motto at Joanne's Nutrition World in the historic arcade building on US 1, downtown Fort Pierce. Joanne brings more than 25 years of experience in the natural health industry, right here to you. Take advantage of this free personal guide to wellness and good health. Meet with Joanne herself and get started. Nutrition World always provides you with the hottest new product lines and, best of all, expert advice from the people who care. Call Joanne at 464-3598, 464-3598, and learn the correlation between diet and great health. Stop in today. The expert guidance to health is always free at Nutrition World. Nutrition World in the Arcade Building, US 1, downtown Fort Pierce.
Listen to Joanne's World of Nutrition every Thursday morning at 10 on WPSL.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Now, back to Joanne's World of Nutrition. Once again, here's your host, Joanne Seeger.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning. If you're just tuning in, we have an amazing guest with us this morning, Dr. Peter. He has the company called Nutronco, NUTRONCO.com. So Nutronco is the vitamin line, and this is his second time on the show. The first time we discussed in detail some of his cutting-edge products, and today we are talking about his Power Nerve and his newest product. So I am so excited about this newest product because it's been needed for a super long time. I can't stress the fact that I have so many customers that are going through this and have no nutritional support supported by their doctors. So Dr. Peter, can you please unveil your newest of amazing products?
Thank you, Joanne. You're too nice. Yes, our newest product is a product called Power Up, where UP stands for operation. This is a nutritional supplement for people that are undergoing surgery to take before and after. And I'm very excited, and we have had a lot of buzz about this product, and a lot of people are very excited. Every product we make has a kind of a story, and the story behind this is orthopedic surgeons specifically came to us and told us, we're seeing so many people for elective surgeries, although the product is not just for elective surgery, where, people go for a knee replacement, hip replacement, but being elderly, they have other chronic diseases, frequently diabetes. They're malnourished, especially when you have the chronic joint problems. You do get even more malnourished because it's even hard to get to the icebox. So we have so many patients, they say, and they come malnourished, and they have so much complications. They have infections, surgical site infections, wound infections, not healing. Hospitalization is longer, readmission rates higher. We have a higher morbidity, mortality. Is there something we can do? And we said, absolutely. And I did, extensive research, and there's actually a lot of data showing that supporting nutrition will help in many, many different ways. So this is our product.
I had a feeling that's why that product came along, because I know, just like chemo and radiation, most doctors before surgery do that general blanketed cautionary, don't take anything. So this is awesome.
Although surgery is different than oncology, because in oncology traditionally, as we treat the patients with chemotherapy, doctors, me being an oncologist also, and nurses, they're worried that we compromise effectivity of the chemotherapy by anything that's unusual. And being a serious and potentially lethal disease, that's understandable. However, in surgery, you do not have that type of interference, because you only do surgery, and all you can do is promote and support the patient and the health and the guts and the muscles and all that.
Okay. And so the orthopedics felt that doing nutrition would help them with all those conditions. And I know people that go in for a routine 2-day treatment in and out, and then all of a sudden they're stuck in the hospital for 10 days, because,
Absolutely.
so.
This is what happens. Nutrition and surgery has been studied for a long time. Back 1936, Studley first demonstrated a direct relationship between preoperative weight loss and mortality. And nowadays, it's absolutely well established that malnutrition is a risk factor for increased hospitalization, for increased readmission. There's a 3-fold increase in the 30-day readmission rate in patients who are malnourished. It also has been shown to decrease immunity, immune response, increased infections, decreased digestive and absorptive capacity, wound healing. So across the board, malnutrition has been proven. And what's more, the opposite has been also proven in ample studies, that if you support nutrition with protein, support the body with what they call immunonutrition. And we just talked about that. You cannot boost immunity. Absolutely wrong. There's ample studies out there. It's called immunonutrition, where you use typically L-arginine, L-glutamine, some omega-3, and nucleotides. These are the most important ingredients in immune nutrition. You can boost the immune system amazingly. So these are the goals in our product, and I can tell you a little more about that if you'd like.
Definitely. Well, I know that unfortunately a lot of people believe if they consume a lot of the food that's available to them today, how could they possibly have malnutrition? It's like, well, I eat all day long. I eat my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner, my snacks, and especially if they're going to restaurants, they don't understand that malnutrition is not about how much food they're consuming. It's about how much nutrition they're absorbing. And it's
quality, not quantity.
Exactly. And the quality that we have available, the truth is it's very scarce. It's not available.
I can agree more. And what's amazing about malnutrition is that it's a modifiable and easily modifiable risk factor.
Yeah.
And if we modify, the cost is amazing, for insurance companies, for the patients. Just 1 day of hospitalization is tens of thousands of dollars, and we can change that. So our goal is to improve all that, facilitate wound healing, bone healing, because of the orthopedics, decrease post-operative infections, shorten hospitalizations, minimize readmissions, and decrease overall morbidity, mortality, while improving quality of life.
Oh, wait, so is this product a powder or a pill?
No, it is a powder because it's also based on protein. Protein is the most important macronutrient in malnutrition. It's been proven over and over, many studies, that protein is the most important macronutrient to help with malnutrition. It's been shown to decrease readmissions, to decrease hospital stay, to improve infections, to improve wound healing, to improve gut health. So that's the mainstay of this product. And then there are other ingredients that all serve a specific role.
All right. Well, I would love to make sure we cover those ingredients and what they do so time doesn't run out. So why don't we get right into it and why you chose the ingredients you did for Power Up. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about Nutronco's product, their newest product called Power Up, and it basically would be used before and after surgery. And Dr. Peter, am I wrong in saying all surgery? It doesn't matter what type?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So any type of surgery. Okay. And
even though we developed it for orthopedic, there's ample data for abdominal surgery, even cancer surgeries, other elective surgeries, plastic surgeries, bariatric surgery is very important. So even if somebody is obese and needs bariatric surgery, they still can be malnourished. And this is, again, the quality and quantity.
I hear about that more than anything, like colon resectioning and bariatric. Yeah, that's definitely an issue. All right, so we are going to now cover all the ingredients and why you chose them. So carry on, Dr. Peter.
So the biggest ingredient, of course, the most is a high-quality protein. It is whey-based, but it's a very special way, which is purified with a proprietary ion exchange method. So it doesn't have hormones in it. It doesn't have fat or sugar, and it really just has the proper way with the highest amount of branched chain amino acids of all the proteins. And these are the ones that you need for muscles, for muscle building. Now, we talked about whey a lot in the first show, so I don't want to go much more in details. But that is the highest quality protein that you can use for muscle support.
Okay.
Now, there's another ingredient which supports muscles amazingly, and this is called it's actually a brand that we used. It's called MyoEdge Calcium, HMB. It's hydroxymethylbutyrate, and hydroxymethylbutyrate is an amino acid that decreases muscle degradation and improves protein synthesis in the muscles. It's been shown to work amazingly to prevent muscle loss, and if you're hospitalized in 1 week, you lose 10% of your muscles.
That's huge. Oh my God.
It's huge. If you're debilitated and have arthritis, you already are very weak and you already lost a lot of muscles, and we need to continue. Now, this amino acid has been shown to be able to at least keep muscle mass, even in patients who are sedentary, even in the elderly, people who don't do anything, just lay in bed all day, their muscle mass stayed the same. So they didn't drop 10% a week, but it also improves. This is used a lot in sports, for muscle building, but it's a very safe addition. It's been shown to work even more effective together with vitamin D. So we have this ingredient with vitamin D, but we have additional vitamin D because vitamin D helps with bone healing, and it's also amazing for immunity. And one of the goals is to decrease infections and boost the immunity. Now, with the vitamin D, we do need some calcium and phosphorus for the bone healing. So we definitely added a proper amount of calcium and phosphorus in a good ratio, the best ratio for bone healing to facilitate bone healing. Now, one of the goals is keeping the muscles. The other goal is immunity. For immunity, we have L-arginine, L-glutamine, a part of immunonutrition. We did include nucleotides, just like in the other products, which are basically crucial. Without nucleotides, the immune system doesn't work. Vitamin D and zinc. These boost immunity, and they would help with wound healing as well, but also to decrease surgical site infections, perioperative infections, and systemic infections in these patients. Gut health is also important.
Always.
Because surgery has been shown to decrease. That's a phrase called surgical stress. Surgical stress is a multifactorial problem that comes around in surgical patients, and it's multifactorial. It decreased immunity, increased inflammation, increased oxidative stress, decreased gut health. They all play into the surgical stress. And our ultimate goal is to decrease the surgical stress by addressing all these factors. So immunity, oxidative stress, inflammation, and gut health. For gut health, we have the nucleotides, the glutamine, the whey itself, vitamin D, calcium. We also have probiotics and prebiotics in the product. So that's the other aspect. And then the wound healing. Wound healing is very, very important, and it's facilitated by nucleotides. There's ample data, mostly from Europe, by zinc, vitamin D. Zinc is extremely effective. It actually has a role in every level of wound healing process. It typically has 4 stages, and in every stage, zinc has an amazing role. We have methylcobalamin, which is B12, to support with energy and immunity, benfotiamine, and magnesium. So these are the ingredients and these are the indications for them.
Wow. I remember 30 years ago where a doctor would be like, well, if you want to do a chewable C, just to make sure before, that was the extent of how to get ready for surgery. So this is definitely cutting edge, so much more superior. And really everything you mentioned, I think anyone would be excited to use it each day and any day of their life. But
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
But yes, hip surgery, knee replacement, I know that it can be used for all the other things, but people are usually in a fragile state. And I know a lot of times some of them are told to lose some weight before they go into these surgeries, which is stressful enough. I mean, I kind of laugh like, hey, they haven't lost the weight in the last 20 years. What makes you think they're going to do it, right now? But these shakes that you make could also be used to help them with that as well. So is it a meal replacement, or would they take it in addition to their meals?
You can use it as a meal replacement. This one actually has 5 grams of carbs on purpose, because carbs also have been shown to be very helpful before surgery, keeping the insulin levels proper and decreasing surgical stress. But it's only 5 grams, and it's a natural organic cane sugar. It's not high. So it doesn't have a lot of calories. And yes, you can use it for meal replacement, especially if you want to lose weight in a healthy way. But they were not designed to be meal replacement per se.
Okay. And how much lead time should someone start doing it before their surgery?
2 weeks. This is twice daily for 2 weeks, which is one box, one unit. Is 28 servings twice daily for 2 weeks. Now, I also like to emphasize that if you don't have time to do it before surgery, because it's not elective surgery, it's an urgent surgery, or you just didn't get to a product like that, then using it after surgery has the same effects. Again, many studies have shown that, and many studies proven that early nutrition with the proper protein and the other supportive, just doing it post-operatively after surgery will do the same effect.
Okay. And I think it's a great thing, too. Some people, whether or not they have caretakers or not, they're not going to be up in their kitchens cooking after the surgery. So these shakes, and there's so many awesome battery-powered blenders now, shaker cups that you could keep on your nightstand and make this convenient, because if you only have to worry about one meal a day versus 3, that could take a lot of stress right there. So.
Yes. And of course, after surgery, they don't start you on a regular food, liquids first.
Yep.
So it's a liquid diet, and it's an enteral nutrition as opposed to the parenteral, which would be IV. And studies show that using the natural way through the mouth nutrition is much more effective and much safer than IV nutrition after surgery.
Oh, I learned something new today. Awesome. Okay, well, I am so excited about all these products because I definitely feel that, unfortunately, we have a huge need. The need is there. Yeah. Now we have healthy, scientifically based products that can fulfill the need. And there's, since we have some time, and some of my listeners might be like, oh, Dr. Peter's awesome, but what's the other stuff about? Do you have a few minutes to kind of go over some of your other products? And maybe whatever ones you want to pick, because I love them all and have them all.
Mm-hmm. Well, we talked about Power Onco last time. That is a nutrition for patients undergoing chemotherapy or radiation treatment. Pretty much across the board, everybody can take that who's on chemotherapy. It supports the muscles, which are very important. It boosts immunity and gut health in an amazing way. Without interfering with treatment. Power Onco has a big brother, Power Onco Plus, which has higher protein and also some fat. Still no sugar. None of those 2 products have any sugar because we don't want that sugar surge that could be potentially harmful in cancer patients. So instead of that, we use monk fruit and xylitol, which both have benefits, and they're both safe. So Power Onco Plus has higher sugar and some middle chain triglycerides that are easy to digest fats with easy energy. And those are for patients that are not just on treatment for cancer, but also have lost a lot of weight, or are losing a lot of weight, or have a low protein. They have problems with liver or liver metastases, and the body doesn't make as much protein as needed. As a result, some people have fluid in the legs, in the belly, and they need a lot of protein. And yes, you can give IV protein, but it doesn't stay in the bloodstream for more than like a minute. So it really is not very helpful. Of course, the minute is not literal, but it's very, very short.
Very short.
Very short.
I understand.
And it doesn't really help. Natural nutrition is what helps. Power Onco Plus, there's a product called Power Health, which is for chronically ill patients, again, an overall nutritional support for muscles, energy, immunity, and gut health, just to mention the most important ones. This is a product that we are designing the second generation for, so hopefully we'll have that soon. The Power Nerve we talked about today for the nerves, and the Power Up we talked about. We also touched base on this hangover product, which is kind of a side thing that based on the Power Nerve we decided to do because of people who really had a great experience, and they demanded that.
I think it's great. I look forward to it. And like you said, I mean, right now, I mean, the liver, I think we go through phases, at least in my field, where detoxing, like everyone was talking about detoxing and cleansing and purging the liver but the liver does take a lot of abuse with all our choices, some intentional and some not. And all your formulas not only address gut health, but they do consider the liver and helping it not only not be burdened with more toxic ingredients. And I try to stress to people that when companies like yours go out of the way to choose ingredients that are better absorbed, like you mentioned the monk fruit and the xylitol, those things cost more money to get the pure, untreated, not chemicalized, no starch added products. And so that comes with a price. Like you said, methylcobalamin instead of cyanocobalamin, that comes with more of a price. So if you want quality, if you want better absorption and no scary side effects, just because it's sold in a health food store doesn't necessarily make it perfect, So you are sourcing the best of the best, which I appreciate you taking the time to do that, because I have to admit, in my past, I have had doctors that come on board into the nutrition field, some of them not with the best of intentions, and they throw everything in their bottles that might be popular at the time, and they don't really source out the better ingredients. And you are not like that, and that's why you're on my show. And
Thank you.
And I appreciate that, because sometimes people don't understand that, like I teach them, don't go by the front of any label, even in a health food store. Read the ingredients in the back. Where are they getting their products from? And every single ingredient matters. So you put so much thought, so much research behind everything, and it definitely shows. And you have a partner, which we never really talk about, Hayes, but so passionate about the health of others as well. And it's a great company. Amazing.
Well, I really appreciate that. We definitely don't cut corners on purpose. We want the best quality, non-GMO, best in everything. We source our ingredients from the United States. The nucleotides are from Switzerland, very high quality products, and we are proud of that.
Right. And since we do have a few minutes, let's go more into nucleotides, okay? Because I am a little new into that, and I have a friend that's a really cutting edge in nutrition too, and he wanted me to ask you, so you basically took your knowledge from European information and you brought it to the States to try to, because nucleotides is new for me. So why did you feel like it was so important to bring this technology into products into the States?
Well, nucleotides are a very important part of immunonutrition, which is very important in cancer patients. In fact, in Europe, there are only 3 ingredients that's officially recommended for cancer patients. One of them is nucleotides. And that's how it drew my attention, and I did my research. And it turns out that, yes, nucleotides are extremely effective in boosting immunity. There are many, many, many studies. But besides that, the gut health, it supports in an amazing way. I think last time I told you about this study, which I may have even shown you a picture, when they compared under the microscope the inner layer of the guts in a patient who was on nucleotide supplement with one that wasn't, and then the health of the mucosa of the inner layer of the guts with the length of the villi and the depth of the recesses was amazingly visibly different.
Is that picture on your website, Peter? Do you know?
I don't think it's on my website.
Okay, because that is an amazing image. I remember seeing like the villi look so much healthier and fuller and longer. And some people don't know, like the villi, they're really important to your gut because there's billions of them, and they're little finger-like projections that move the good stuff in and the bad stuff out. And they need to work.
They have to, because if there's any damage to them, there is what we call leaky guts. All the bad bacteria, toxins, everything goes through into our body, into our bloodstream, and will affect everything across the board. The guts are, I could just talk about the guts for 1 hour because they are so important, and the gut health and the immunity. Just go back for 1 second to nucleotides. The third highly studied area is the wound healing with the nucleotides. Every cell, especially growing cells, need nucleotides. Nucleotides are the building blocks for DNA and RNA, the bases of life. So they're extremely important.
Yeah, that sounds really important. Well, you just said we would need another hour to talk about gut health, so you know what you're doing, right? So I'm going to invite Dr. Peter back on so we can do just a whole show on gut health because it is critical. It's our second brain, and we got to keep what's supposed to be inside and what's out, and gut health really determines that. So, Dr. Peter, thank you once again. You are absolutely such a great speaker and so informative, but into a language that everyone can appreciate. So thank you again, and I hope you and your family have a wonderful week. And yes, we'll talk soon and get another date, okay?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's always a great pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Dr. Peter. Take care. And
Thank
all
you.
my listeners, I really appreciate you spending the time with us this morning. But remember, next week, Dr. Mercola's lead formulator and researcher is going to be live in the studio. So making a special trip right here in little old Fort Pierce. So you definitely don't want to miss that show. Thank you, everyone, and have a blessed and beautiful day.
You've been listening to Joanne's World of Nutrition, presented by Nutrition World in downtown Fort Pierce in the Cross Plaza, formerly known as the Arcade Building, across from City Hall. Archives of this show are on YouTube under WPSL TV. Tune in every Thursday morning in the 10 o'clock hour for Joanne's World of Nutrition, right here on WPSL Digital 1590. It's one of the many reasons why we're the talk of the Treasure Coast. This is WPSL, Port St. Lucie. Time right now is 11 o'clock.